Hello, everybody, and Happy New Year's. Now, many of us during the New Year's are making New Year's resolutions, and I too have decided my New Year's resolution will be to make YouTube videos. This will be my first YouTube video, and I personally decided what better game to make YouTube videos on than my singing monsters. Now, for those who don't know, or for those who have been living under a rock, My Singing Monsters is a very popular mobile game made by Big Blue Bubble. Now, the entire idea of the game is that you get monsters, and as the title would suggest, they sing. You combine those monsters together with their elements, and they create new monsters who further complete the song. There are multiple islands in the game, and each island has a different song and new music for each monster to play. And if you want to learn more, I highly suggest you play the game yourself. It's free on mobile, and it's honestly a really great game. It is a transactional game, and there are certain currencies in the game that you can pay for or whatnot, but you are not obligated to, and they are all obtainable within the gameplay. Now, personally, for my own gameplay, I like to fully complete an island before I continue to the next. And you may tell that all of my islands, other than my plant island, are very lacking, and they have a diamond mine and the 5 bakeries that they allow for each island. So I've just been trying to further expand my treat and diamond productions. So, once I fully complete my plant island, which means getting every monster, including rares and epics, and getting them all to level 20, once I fully complete my plant island, I will continue to Cold. As of most recently, I am just trying to get some of my monsters to level 20 and get some of the rares as I'm working on the rare Woolbox. Currently, I'm working on getting the rare Furcorn, which I do believe I have gotten, but it is not in this footage. And other than this, I am also working on getting my Potbelly to level 20. I have gotten all the other single elements, including Toe Jammer, Mammoth, and Noggin, to level 20, but not quite Potbelly, so I'm still working on Potbelly. Other than that, there's not much more that I'm looking for. Unfortunately, now I must get into winter break. Anyone else in high school knows winter break will be ending soon. I hate to be the one to bear this awful news, but we have to get back to school. Personally, I'm not too upset. I got some friends in school that I'm looking forward to seeing and whatnot, but I'm not going to look forward to having to keep up my grades and whatnot. Don't get me wrong, I'm an all-A student, but even as a good student, I do not want to deal with the burden of school. In my English class, I have to go during lunch to take a test, and I'm not happy. Also, just to put it out there, I think English is one of the worst subjects in school. Don't get me wrong, I think people should know basic grammar, but when they're putting us up to writing essays and whatnot, and every part of the grading of an essay is subjective, it just doesn't feel right. Grammar's okay because there's an obvious wrong and right to how you should place things grammatically, but essays are always so subjective and complicated. I don't know, Also, please forgive the disorganization on my gold island. I've been meaning to organize my monsters. I'll probably get to it after this video. Also, for anybody going through driver's ed at this time, I pray for you. Because soon as winter break ends, you gotta get straight back to it. I'm just glad that I was able to finish it so soon. I did not like driver's ed. I had all A's. One of my grades went down to a B, which might not sound bad to some people, but I am very serious about my grades. So yeah, I was pretty upset about that. Um, but yeah, I pray for you if you're in driver's ed. I pray that you're able to pass all your tests. Also, can we just talk about the laws and in different states about driver's ed? Because I live here in Oregon, and the law here is that you can take a test to get your permit, but to get your license, you need to take driver's ed. No, I'm not against driver's ed, but in some places like Maine, you need to take driver's ed in order to get your permit, and then you can get your license later by taking a test. Now, from my experience on the West Coast specifically, there are so many bad drivers here, and the only good drivers I've ever seen are in Maine. Like, could we just start implementing driver's ed before getting permits? Or just better driver's ed in general for us on the West Coast? Because if you've ever been to California, you know there are not many good drivers there. And even here in Oregon, there are not good drivers. So, yeah. Also, some places in California in general are just unbearable to live in. I used to live in San Diego, personally, downtown San Diego, and I cannot tell you enough how awful cities are in California. I I I do not like California. And even here in Oregon, we don't have great cities. Like Portland, Oregon is ugh. Portland, Oregon's like it's one of the worst places I've ever been to. So I can't say Oregon's got great cities either. Also, are we gonna talk about the Game of the Year awards this year? I know it was rigged. I refuse to believe otherwise. I I don't know much about Expedition 33. And if I'm gonna be entirely fair, I'm sure there's a lot of good stuff about the game. But are we seriously going to say that a game that looks like a Raid Shadow Legends expansion beat Silksong? Silksong has been expected for about 7 years. And once it hit the market, it crashed multiple stores. And we are letting Expedition 33 win? Are you serious? Not only did Silksong have better art direction, it had better music, it had a better story. It had better gameplay. Just because, I mean, Silksong has a parry mechanic, but just because a game has a parry mechanic does not make it one of the greatest games ever. Case in point being Expedition 33. The parry mechanic is very incremental to the combat. But, again, not having known much about Expedition 33, you don't have to take my word. Or at least take it with a grain of salt. I'm just extremely upset that Silksong didn't win. Speaking of, I should talk about Silksong. If we're entirely honest, Silksong was absolute peak. It was one of the greatest sequels I've ever seen to a video game. And I have very few complaints about it. And for anybody who doesn't know, they recently released the trailer for their free DLC, because Team Cherry is goated, called Sea of Sorrows. And I will most definitely be playing that. I I I don't know how the sequel to the greatest Metroidvania ever made didn't beat Expedition 33, but I shouldn't be sour about it, of course. Um, but I'm not happy. Now, with all that said, I still do have criticisms about Silksong. Just, and I know this is a common point, but some of the double masks are a bit unnecessary. But it's not entirely bad. The combat wasn't unnecessarily difficult. If you learned the enemy, then it's not too bad to fight them. But Bile Water was walking through hell. I hate Bile Water, and I get PTSD every time I see a clip of it. And I'm just glad that I beat Grohl, and I really did not like Bile Water. Anyways, with that, that's basically the end of the video.